Sometimes I wish I could talk about the difference between talent and skill, because a lot of people will be like, oh my God, you're so talented. But to me, like, talent is this like little seed. Talent isn't like the big thing that I'm building everything off of, it's my skill. Talent is just like the little part, but practice is how I got where I'm at. Do you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people just think artists are talented and that's what they're riding on. But to me, anybody can be an artist. You just have to put yourself out there to fail enough to get good, which, like, I failed a lot and I just built off the failures. Do you know what I mean? I'm still failing, you know, today. I'm a failure, is what I'm trying to say. I'm Justine Silva. I'm a maker and creative, and I'm currently based out of Boston and LA. So welcome to my studio. I've been here for about a year. It's in a 5-story mill building, and there's tons of studios. It's an open air studio, so the walls don't go all the way up. So if you hear anything, it's just fellow creatives. So my background is in creativity, kind of in all forms. I have a degree in illustration, so I really like telling stories. But early on in my career, I realized like sticking to paper wasn't good enough, so I'm kind of like multidisciplinary now. I explore all sorts of mediums to communicate creative ideas. So I started off in window displays, which is like, you know, over the top and kind of crazy ideas, but now I've been kind of working in film, TV, so that ranges from anything from producing and telling stories to making giant props like giant candy, things that kind of are one-off customs. I'm your girl, so that's kind of what I've been doing. I guess I've been baking stuff since I was a kid. My mom probably has more of an influence on me than she even knows. Like, she always had these cool projects when I was growing up. We went to the library a lot where she'd find like fun stuff to do, like gardening, sewing, all that stuff. So I really liked being creative from a young age, and I've kind of just carried that through till today. I guess I've always been creative, but I didn't really think that I would end up in art school until I got really into photography in my junior year of high school. And so I started applying to art schools, and I ended up going to Mass Art, which is in Boston. Super fun experience. So I majored in illustration because I really like to draw, and I really loved like hands-on drawing. Like, I mean, I was in school like 10 years ago, more than that. So I was like totally against Photoshop, totally against like, no, I don't do that. Now I'm a little different, but I really love getting my hands on stuff. And my senior year, I was an intern for Anthropology doing their window displays, and it kind of introduced me to more materials and ways to make art, and that really kind of got my gears turning. So I've never been a traditional illustrator. I just really like to like build now. When I was working in retail, I was in charge of the window displays and the in-store displays, and so it would kind of like bounce back and forth, like window, interior, window, interior. And for every store, there's only one display person. So it would be me in the back in this like closet of an art studio, thinking and ideating, sketching, getting it approved, and then building the whole thing by myself. And so I really got used to using a lot of tools on like a shoestring budget. Okay, so making it, I guess I found out about making it because I was on Facebook at some point, because that's what we did. And I saw a post about this craft show with Amy Poehler and Nick Offerman, and somebody had posted it, and I thought, I might watch that show. And then kind of in the next coming weeks, I was like, you know what? I could maybe be on that show. Like, I've never aspired to be on a reality TV show, but I kind of threw a video together, which my video is the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen. I don't have a copy of it. It's gone forever. I'm just kidding, it's somewhere. I kind of threw my hat into the ring, and before I knew it, I found myself on reality TV with a bunch of people. And then I won! Spoiler alert. No. All right, so what happened was I thought, okay, I could be on that show. And so I made my video, because you have to send in like a 3-minute video clip of like a lot of the stuff you've done and who you are and all that stuff. And I edited it and I watched it. And when I watched it, I all I could think was like, I'm bored watching me. I was so bored by myself. So I went back, I scrapped it, and I reshot the whole thing and was like so over the top and weird. Like I was like jumping around my store, like I made that. And that is the video that I sent in. It's super cringy, I'm sure. I wish that I had a copy for you, but it's gone forever.
Hey, I made these birds out of chipboard, wire, and watercolor paper. These buoys are made out of cardboard and canvas. Oh hey, just putting the finishing touches on this hardware sign.
But yeah, once I sent that in, I kind of just kept saying yes to every time they were like, yeah, we're still interested in you. Are you still interested in us? I was like, well, I mean, this is an opportunity I'm not going to turn down. Like, I'm going to let them be the ones to decide when I'm out, not me. And before I knew it, I was shooting with Amy and Nick and my cast of makers, which was surprising to me and all of the people around me, I guess. The whole show was like just a whirlwind because you shoot it in such a condensed timeline, which now I know why people on TV are so stressed out. It's like not because it's actually, I mean, it is stressful. Being timed is stressful, but it's also like, where are my scissors? This isn't my studio. These aren't materials I'm used to working with. So it was, you know, a pretty intense experience. But going through it, I didn't ever think that I was gonna win. Like, maybe towards the end, I was like, it's a possibility. But my goal through the whole thing was like, just make it through this episode with a project that even if you go home, you can stand by. But for me, like if I went home on a project that I wasn't proud of, that would suck. But if I went home on a project that I was proud of, at least I could be like, well, I liked it. So, you know. If I could sum it up, Making It taught me so much about myself, more than I knew in it. Obviously about being creative and being resourceful and, you know, working under a timeline, but more so about committing to your ideas and following through on them, which is something I struggle with like outside of Making It. I always have an inner critic telling me why not to do something. But when there's a clock on the wall that says you have 4 hours to finish this, it's like you have to make the decision. So just do it. I could probably use one of those clocks in my studio now, to be honest. So I was on Making It season 2, and actually right after season 2 aired, COVID hit. And when the industry came back up and they signed for season 3, they called me and another contestant from season 1 to come hop on the producing side of things. So I actually ended up joining the dark side of TV on season 3. After we filmed season 3 of Making It, those connections just kind of kept coming because it was, or those opportunities kind of kept coming because it was more so the producers that were involved in those shows that would come up with these weird projects or weird TV shows, and they would recommend me for shows with like building or art or competition, that type of thing. So now I work on TV shows that have to do with like either home reno or build most of the time. And because I'm in reality TV, the timelines are so tight and ideas happen like within a split second and they have to be done by the end of the day. So like if an idea comes up at lunch, like, okay, there's an empty pool. This has happened to me. There's an empty pool. We want to get them in rollerblades skating the pool. This is an idea at lunch, but the roller skates have to be there by the end of the day. And you're in the middle of nowhere. It's like, okay, well now I gotta find the size, the color, the right, you know, all of these things. Those types of tasks that seem so silly under a condensed timeline seem like SOS, and those are the types of situations that I now weasel my way out of as a producer. These days, most of the time I'm behind the camera, but every once in a while I will get asked to step in front of the camera. I have a couple cameos on home reno shows, but I'm also on Making Fun, which is on Netflix. Making Fun is like kids say the darndest things, and then we take those darndest things and just turn them into props and make them. Only one season, unfortunately, but maybe there will be more. Hopefully, I don't know. Honestly, as far as meaningful projects go, Making Fun will always have a special place in my heart. I was part of the whole season. I was behind the scenes for all of the episodes, and then I was on the one with the pirate ship. But that show was one of the first that came back after COVID. So we all just were ready to have fun and to work again and to work as a team. And it's making a bunch of props that there is no roadmap. So we're all just building the parachute after we already jumped. And so working together with the crew who, the viewer sees everybody on screen, and those guys are awesome. But that show was the crew and the guys. Everyone on the team was just awesome. And we lived in upstate New York. It was like summer camp on steroids. It was awesome.
Hey guys, my name's Justine. Welcome back to my channel.
So during COVID, I started a YouTube channel, mostly honestly because when I was on Making It, Jimmy was start a YouTube channel. And so I did, and then I stopped because I was like, this is way too much work for not enough reward. But then one of my videos took off, so I have been kind of throwing some videos online just to share tips and things that I've learned along the way. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what I want my YouTube to be, but you can find me there, as well as on Instagram. Where do I find inspiration? Pinterest is big for me, but more than Pinterest, I just like working with people around me. I really like looking at design trends and design history, and then kind of pulling out the nuances and weaving them into whatever I'm creating. All right, so we're at this candle shop that I helped design over the summer. I have a friend who opened this space. She was on Etsy under Moonlight and Mindfulness, and it's like a metaphysical, kind of witchy candle shop. So it's not totally my style, but it was really fun to kind of interpret and put a spin, a Justine spin on goth witchy style. My ideal project would probably be somewhere in the world of commercial interiors, whether it's a coffee shop, a storefront, or my own space, maybe a short-term rental, because I love interior design, but practical interior design, unless it's a fun client, can be kind of luring. I don't want to design a kitchen with subway tile and green cabinets just because it's trendy. I want to design an experience, something a little bit over the top for, like a short-term rental, like an Airbnb situation where you're looking for a little bit of fun. So that would be my ideal project. I think the projects that I thrive in or that really excite me are projects that there is no roadmap. And a lot of time, that's probably my background in window display and why it works in set design or prop making. Because most of the time when someone asks me for something, there is no, nobody's ever done it before. Making Fun. Can you build a giant dinosaur that throws up tacos? And there's no PDF on how to do that. And those are the things that make me excited because it's problem solving, right? So those are the things that I really like to do, whether it's that or just a silly prop. Those are the things where I'm let's figure it out, let's go. I guess handling creative block and moments of doubt is interesting to me because when I'm on a show or when I'm working on a project, I am able to power through no problem because I know that it needs to get done and it's I've been looked in the eye and asked for the craziest things and I'm just absolutely, I'll do it. But when I'm on my own, there is no one that's cracking the whip and saying, figure this out. So for me, I've really been trying to practice having an idea and just following through on it. Even if I think it's stupid halfway through, just finish it. And so I'm really trying to get better about pushing myself in that way. places that I feel that I've grown most as a maker are pretty much wherever I'm surrounded by other creatives, and a big one for me is California. I grew up in Boston, and in 2018 I decided to just pack everything up and put it in my car and go to LA. And I really found my creative community there. Just being around people who kind of speak the same language, where maybe that language isn't always understood in other places, where you're like, this is a little heavy over here, or this needs a little bit more life over there, and people get it. That type of community is where I really thrive, I think. My family's always been super supportive in kind of the career path that I've chosen, but as far as like making stuff and sort of my steps creatively, the people that I get the most support from are honestly people that I met at Anthropology, who have since gone on to do awesome creative things in so many different realms, but they're always there if I'm like, hey, what kind of glue should I use? Or like, is this a silly idea? They're kind of my lean-tos, and I think they probably always will be. I have a lot of ideas about where Justine Silva could go. My problem is that I have too many ideas. I can't just like focus on one. What's the future of Justine? Well, I'm really trying to figure out where my path is going, just because my background is so vast that sometimes I feel like I'm like going in a million directions, and I'm trying to pivot them all into one. I do think that I'm figuring it out, but for the most part, I would really like to take my skill set and start applying it to a space, whether that's an apartment or a home, because I think for me, the magic, or like where I find myself in like a flow state, if you will, is turning a space into an idea, like taking an idea and turning it into a reality. And so to be able to do that for myself and share some of the things that I've learned along the way, like that would be where I'm trying to go. The best part about my studio is that there's a brewery on the first floor. So cheers.
How long do you see yourself creating?
I don't know. I don't even do it. I had to make I made that yesterday, so it looked like I had a project going. I'm probably gonna be creative in some shape or form forever. It's just the application. You know, sometimes I'm like, oh, maybe I could go into event design. Maybe I could go into interior design, but no matter where I end up, I know that my greatest strength at this point is solving problems creatively. So whether I'm making a painting or a sculpture or just thinking outside of the box to solve a problem, like to me that is still being creative. To me that's still creating. So I'll probably take that approach to anything I do. When I'm buying stuff at Home Depot that's for electrical, and I'm like, oh, I'm building a giraffe, you know? Unfortunately, I don't think I can go back to a life without art. Like now that I've tasted it, I mean, I've had a desk job, I've done all that, and I've kind of tried to like mold myself into having a straight career path, and it did not work for me. Not sure it worked for the people around me either. But now that I've kind of tasted art, I don't really think I can imagine myself without some sort of creative outlet. If you ever get hyped up, you just listen to the Drive soundtrack. You put headphones in and you just like, it's the chromatics. It's just like